What's up, guys? Welcome back to my teeny tiny little automotive channel. And I'm still working on the 308, but on something new now. I have had this brand new fuse panel, updated fuse block, whatever you want to call it, sitting in my closet since January of 2024. So I figure now's probably a good time to put it in. These old fuse boxes in these cars, they're not so good. They melt fuses and pop fuses, and I've heard stories that they could start a fire. They're just old technology. So somebody on F-Chat, I believe, came up with this design. It looks really nice. It was, I think, around 400 bucks, which, you know, for a really nice fuse panel that's supposed to be plug and play, seems reasonable, I guess. I don't know how difficult it is to swap all this over, but I'm about to find out. And as soon as I know, I'm gonna let you know. Also, I have to fix my horn again. So the horn setup on this car has this little canister, and from time to time, you have to pop the cap off and actually kind of oil the inside. This is it right here. So I gotta take off these 3 screws, pull this top off, spray some WD-40 down in there, and it should work better than it has been working lately. So those are the 2 things I'm about to knock out. I'm gonna do the horn first because that's super simple, and then we'll get tearing into this dashboard. So there's this little diaphragm thing in here, and basically this is kind of an air pump, and you just gotta spray some WD-40 kind of in and around like that, not too much, and that should take care of it. Let's see how we did. I don't know if I have to have the key on. Ooh. Okay, I guess I did all right. That is way louder than what it was, so I pissed off the dog. Here's the fuse panel, and it's actually really well made. I love that every single thing is labeled. You've got these updated spade fuses, these smaller ones. Comes with hardware, looks to be stainless, which is nice, and then a few pages of instructions. And here it is. There's a lot of stuff like connected with these stupid little, what is this? There's 2 wires not even connected. I don't know what that's for. Somebody was in here before me. Anyway, that fuse panel replaces all of this right here, so I have to go through and label all of this so I know where it is, and then take a ton of pictures, and then I can get to pulling this out. Make sure before you do any of this, disconnect your battery. I went ahead and labeled all mine, basically the same as the diagram in the instructions. Once I pulled the cover off, it's actually, man, what a really nice setup. The gentleman that made this did a fantastic job. I mean, even down to the logo and the 308 written on the circuit board there. And there's also little provisions in here for using, I guess, some LED stuff. I'll have to reread the instructions, but 2 of these screws go in there to make that setup work. Look at these old archaic fuses. Well, at least none of them are blown. And I wish I knew why some of these weren't even used. I wish they were labeled as well as this. I mean, this is going to tell me what everything is, thank goodness. Now I'm just going to go very slow, starting on this side, and kind of work my way from the top down to the bottom, one at a time, and get everything swapped over. I'm a little over halfway there. It's really not difficult. You just have to kind of take your time and make sure you label everything before you undo it so you can match it up correctly. So there's tabs on the bottom and then a tab on the top, so I labeled mine like this side would be R1, and then the bottom would be R1B, and then R2, 3, so on all the way down to R9. I'll do the same thing over there, but it comes out very nice. Make sure you kind of clock these connectors all the same way so that 1, they look really pretty, and 2, They just fit better, I think. You don't want this thing flipped in here and getting, you know, closer or whatever. Just make them all go one way. All right, everything is bolted back into place. It came with new hardware that were hex heads, so I just went ahead and used those. Probably nothing wrong with the factory ones, but I just went ahead and used the new stuff. This little toggle switch up here, I have no idea what the heck that even goes to. I'm not sure that is something I want to get into right now either. Everything seems to work just fine in the car with it flipped this way, so we're gonna leave that. The next thing to do is just connect the battery, cross my fingers, and hope that everything still works like it did before I started this. All right, I need to have this with me because as soon as I connect that battery, the alarm is going to start going off. I'm going to leave the cable on the battery finger tight just for now, in case for some reason, in case for some reason I have to disconnect it really quick. But I hope that is not the case. See what we got. That's better. So far so good. Everything seems to be working. That's a great sign. Man, my windows are going pretty quick. That actually helped a lot. So I have boosters already installed for my windows, but this new fuse box. All right, time to wrap this thing up. I was missing the cover. It goes right there, cover the battery. And looking on eBay and stuff, those things are stupid expensive. So, being the little arts and crafts wizard that I am, I made my own. I just took an old piece of acrylic. It's been red for years. I finally decided to paint it, and that's just a black undercoating that I had left over. No one's ever gonna see it, so I don't really care. I just didn't want it to be red acrylic anymore. Well, that's all there is to it. Pretty straightforward, not a very difficult job to do. Just take your time. You need to be meticulous about labeling each one of the wires when you take it off the old fuse panel, and then just watch the direction of those little tabs when you install it in the new one. Other than that, it should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Thanks so much for watching. Stay hungry, stay foolish.